Good morning. So, it is a wonderful surprise that we get Tower Simulator 3 as kind of an early Christmas gift. I've been following the development on the Field Air forums for basically since it started. I contributed some thoughts and feedback to features that I'd like to see in the game, some things like that. But otherwise, I've just been too busy the last 7 months to really bother doing much or paying all that much attention to it. But I saw notice that, hey, we're expecting it to be out in time for the holidays. And then today I got notice on Discord that, guess what? It's out. So I'm in. From the screenshots and all the changes in the development of the game and the little snippets that they posted on the forums, definitely knew I was going to want the game. I already did from Tower Simulator Tower 3D Pro. Jeez, it's like I haven't played the game in 7 months. But anyway, this is the first time loading the game. I'm not going to do a lot of big play tonight. Tonight for me, tomorrow for you. What I want to do is jump in, look at the settings, kind of do some configuration of it. Now, as a caveat, I did load the game, and the only thing I looked at was changing my default resolution. Because I run a 5760 by 1200 resolution, it's extremely widescreen, and sometimes certain games don't quite work properly. Thankfully, this one seemed to load very nicely in the ultra-wide, but it doesn't translate the best to YouTube. Maybe I'll have a profile for that set up at some point and kind of show you what it looks like, but for now, I wanted to jump in and get it set back to normal. Outside of that, I put my name in the game, and that's all I've done. So I have not gone through the menus. I don't know the settings. All I've seen are the screenshots on the forum. So I'm going to go through this blind and just kind of figure certain things out for you. So with that said, let's kill the webcam and jump into the game itself. All right, so I've got my crazy headphones on now to listen to the music. The music is lovely, very relaxing. I'm ready to take a nap, but it is a little bit loud. So let's just start at the top. I've got welcome. Again, all I did was create a character name. You can change this later from what they said. I'm level 1. Levels probably don't mean anything other than just the skill and some things like that from basic errors similar to the other game. Score, again, probably similar. Takeoffs, landings, finished jobs, which means there's the career mode, as you can see over here. Mistakes, major issues, fatal errors, and deleted airplanes. So just some fun little statistics to track, but ultimately they don't really mean anything for you unless you want them to mean something. Career mode, I knew they were adding this, but again, I haven't seen any of this, so kind of cool. You can jump in and do a few little different options within the game. So you've got morning coffee, just a morning run, day in the office, early afternoon shift with a chance of showers. Then you take on after that with, hey, it's actually going to rain. And then tea time with an easygoing afternoon. Now, these are all at TIST, so not a big deal. As you level up, it looks like you'll get more difficult challenges. These are the easiest ones, so they should not really be anything of impact for a player once they get used to the game. Quick play. Cool that you get LAX, you get LaGuardia. You can see now Field Air also does develop some stuff for Microsoft Flight Simulator and some other games as well, so you can see kind of the upgrade in the way the game looks. It looks a lot better than it did in Tower 3D Pro. Nothing against Tower 3D Pro, but this looks better. Raleigh-Durham, beautiful. And Cyril E. King, St. Thomas, TIST. So it looks like these are the quick launch ones. I know they initially planned on having compatibility with the old Tower 3D Pro airports, but I think the game changed too much to make that possible. But as a call out, they did mention that they're going to be more mod friendly in this version, so there's a chance we, the community, can go in there and actually make some more content for the game. I know back in TF2 when it was early released, I spent a ton of time in the Hammer level editor. Made a couple maps. Unfortunately, hard drive loss killed them all, so I never did release them, but it was a ton of fun to make them. So depending on how complex and confusing this is, I could definitely see myself having some fun making some both realistic airports from real world models and just having some fun creating some random airports. That's definitely something that could be fun. You can make yourself a nightmare airport to control, or you could try your hand at designing a really efficient airport. I think that's awesome. Multiplayer has been revamped from what I know of the development, so it should be a lot easier. You can see you can create rooms and do a lot of other activity. You can search to join a room, and one of the other cool things is now you can actually reassign the jobs of the airport, so you can have 2 ground operators, 2 tower operators. You can control the north side, one can control the south side. You can divvy it up through the config files, which just is awesome that you can go in there and change things to that level to really customize and make multiplayer fun. Now, I don't know if any lobbies are going to be visible to people up front. I don't unfortunately have any friends that want to play this. And folks like Eli Grimm, I believe, are on the other side of the planet from me, so not likely that we're going to be able to sync up and have him show me up. But if you can just simply create a room and have somebody join, I think that's a really awesome idea, because it just creates some fun. Hey, you want to play? You take tower, you take ground. It really opens up the dynamic for a much more realistic experience, and you can really step up the number of planes that you're handling, because if you've seen any of my Tower 3D Pro videos, when I started playing, I didn't really follow any rules. I just wanted to control the planes. It was fun to see how many planes I could control. Yes, I did not really operate like a real tower controller would, but again, no real tower controller outside of a small airport would really be handling ground and tower at the exact same time on the same frequencies and all that stuff. So as I progressed, it was fun to try and play more realistically and actually make it a sim. And with this game, they've really stepped up the sim aspect of it. So looking forward to getting into it. Now, settings, again, the only one I changed was my screen size. I do play in window just so I can make sure my recording software is going, capture screenshots, paste those out for thumbnails, all that good stuff. And again, this is just an easier size for YouTube to handle versus my native resolution. But you've got all the standard windowed full screen. You can see there's my massive resolution. It's got everything in between, which is awesome. Lots of good options. Quality, good to see that it defaulted to Ultra. This isn't really a massively graphically intense game, but I do expect it to step up. Now again, early on in Tower 3D Pro, there were a lot of optimization issues at certain airports. This is on the developer of the airport, not necessarily Feel There. I want to clarify that. As Nergis, I'm probably butchering that pronunciation, but they made a good number of the airports, and some of theirs weren't as optimized. And Tower 3D Pro, the Feel There team, made some airports as well that they released, and theirs were typically a bit more optimized. But if you looked at some of my early ATL videos, oh my god, the performance just would tank when there were a certain number of airplanes and handles going on. They did eventually get it more stable, but it would still sometimes randomly lag out. And at that time, my PC was definitely a lot more beefy than it is now. So, ultra settings, full motion blur. I'm not usually a fan of motion blur, not because I find it not because I find it nauseating, but I find it a little unrealistic depending on how it's panning. But in this case, because we're going to be in a different layout, I think I may like it. I'm going to leave it on, but I may turn it down. Texture quality's high. Decor, definitely want to see the decor. Let's take a look at the game. Got my nickname. Runway separation is time-based. I'm going to leave this as the default up front simply because I want to learn the game and just the different nuances. But for simulation, you would do distance-based primarily, simply because airplanes have to maintain a certain level of distance between themselves. You can do time-based depending on the airport, but it's nice that you have that customization now. Parallel runway approach is an interesting way of running things. At larger airports, I'm going to use my home airport or LAX as an example. Airplanes don't usually land on close runways directly side by side because they need an escape route. At larger airports, though, you have enough separation between runways typically that you can allow planes to land in parallel instead of staggered. Typically, one plane would be landing 500 to 1,000 feet in front of the other plane. That way, if it has to peel off, it has an escape plan to get out of there and not impact departures or anything else at that point, or any other planes in the pattern or that are coming in. Now, typically, they would brake right or brake left. It's no big deal. But again, they have to maintain certain separations. So you can see they have a minimum parallel distance, which is a pretty good amount of distance, but you can bring it much closer to 500 feet, which I am very surprised about. There doesn't really seem to be anything in between this. I'm not sure if that's because this may be a small airport that would allow 500 feet, but I'm surprised there's not like 1,000, 2,000, things like that. But I guess they're really just saying take LAX, for example, you have the two runways right next to each other. I don't think they're 500 feet apart. I think they're a little closer, but they may be 500 feet. It's very late at night and I'm tired, so that may just allow you to land on, say, 24 left or 24 right at LAX, versus having to land on 25 right versus 24 left across the point. And I think I said that backwards. 25 left and 25 right versus 25 left versus 25 right to do opposite sides of the airport. DFW, my home airport, they land parallel all the time on 18 right and 17 left. They also have 17 center that is far enough apart from the left runway that it can also land parallel. And I have seen 3 planes all landing side by side, and it is a beautiful sight with sunset. Now, radar separation's kind of neat. They give you a good bunch of standard options. 1 mile is ridiculously close, but that's a nice customization. They give you something smack dab in the middle, which is cool. Typically, I thought the planes, I'll have to check the regulations. I thought they had to be, I think, 3 to 5 miles, depending on plane type, especially for jets if you have a prop coming in behind them, just for the oh my goodness, wake turbulence and jet wash, things like that can disturb the airflow for the props and even some of the other planes coming up behind them, especially if they're lighter. But this is a neat customization to really change the way you're playing, and I think that's really cool. So again, I'm going to leave that default. Sound, master volume, I always leave that up. Basic options. I am going to drop this down and immediately so that now I don't have to do it in post. Yeah, 30% should be good. I still get to hear it, but it's not going to be deafening. GUI volume, I haven't heard anything in the GUI, so we can leave that alone. Tower interior volume. I have a feeling this is a sound dampening to kind of simulate being in the tower. You'll hear the airplanes, but they've kind of got the glass blocking and deflecting some of the sound, so it won't be quite so intense. Airplanes volume. Aerial volume, I believe this is when you're outside of the tower flying around in camera view, which is kind of cool, just so you don't get deafened. Speech, these are going to be the pilots talking back to me, so I'm going to leave that at 100% right now. And let's test speech recognition. If you, again, have seen any of my Tower 3D Pro videos, my original headset that I was using at the time was full analog. I was using the onboard headset mic. Again, the game at that point recommended you use analog. I had some good, okay response with it, but in proper mic position, the mic would be around your chin level, between your lower lip and your chin, so that you don't pop right into the mic. And it's close enough to pick up the sound but not be impacted by your breath or any aspect of your lip movement. I switched to another headset, still had some issues with it, and now I use an Elgato Wave 3 USB mic, which is a step up in quality. And honestly, I never had any problems in Tower 3D Pro with it registering my voice. It actually got better. The problem I had was sometimes the game at certain distance required me to be overly enunciative, as I am being right now, kind of in that game mode. And in doing so, it would better separate the sound. Again, I'm seeing they've got new voice rec tech in here, and it's come a long way since Tower 3D Pro, so I'm really hoping we get a step up in better voice recognition. Let's test it. Or not. Doesn't give me the option to test voice recognition, which is a bit of a sad thing. I don't like that. I want to be able to test my voice recognition. Interesting. Maybe it knows there's no problem, or maybe there's no need to test it because Windows has prior tests in place. Honestly, I don't know. That's something I can inquire about if I really care. But I'm confused. Input, push to talk key. I'm going to go back to the Tower 3D Pro button I used. Camera turn, right mouse button, rotate tags, middle mouse button. Interesting. Zoom, mouse wheel, seat the camera. Whoa, that jumped fast. Seat the camera. I don't really know what this means. I think this is just locking the camera. Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. That's me sitting in my chair in the tower. ADIR's camera, D-Bright camera. So these are the different screens. Weather camera. That's interesting. Strip camera. Yep. Command area. Window camera. Okay. Move forward, backward. Yep. Up, down. Move fast. I'm gonna have to put you. Man, why can't I modify that? So I want left shift to be my PTT button. But now I can't change that. Interesting, so that's a bug. I know they have a few bugs that they highlighted were going to be fixed before the first service pack because they kind of impact. I don't know if this is one of them, but this is definitely going to be a problem. Now, I'm not going to be playing in camera mode, so this may not actually conflict, but I can't change the options, so we'll have to take a look at that. I don't have any add-ons for settings, so those are going to be after the fact modifiers, such as I'm assuming of the eventual real traffic and real color, where I can go in there and configure those things. They also said you'll be able to map certain textures to airplanes and things like that. I don't know if you'll do that in the add-ons here or if you'll have to go back out into the config files, kind of like you had to in Tower 3D Pro. You do have a store option here, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, there's nothing to buy at the moment. The game just released, but I'm assuming you'll be able to get DLC in the store. I really want to see this stay 100% within the game and be tracked. Now, in Tower 3D Pro, you had to buy everything through the Feel Their website or on Steam, depending on what you were buying. It was a confusing mess. And this isn't necessarily on the devs, it's just the way things went. I'm a proponent of Steam or a digital distribution platform where I can just keep everything in one simple area. I download the game, my DLC downloads, it installs, I don't have to do anything. That's what made Tower 3D Pro and all my map airport editions great. But real traffic and real color for each of the airports that I bought it for had to be installed independently because it was bought through the BMT Micro Store from FeelTheir's website. So I'm really hopeful that they either allow me to buy everything through Steam as a requirement, or at worst case, I can buy it in game and download it similar to Flight Simulator. I again would prefer to use Steam, but this is an improvement because it keeps me within the game and I can check off what I want to download, and I'm hopeful that it will install it correctly so there's no need for my most popular video, which has been installing all the mods. Help option just goes to their website. It doesn't look like this is fully up and running just yet because it took me to the Tower 3D Pro manual website, so I'm assuming that'll get updated here soon. And exit. What I would love to see here in the game is a bug report option. You should have the option within help to load a help menu here where you can then connect out to the full help site, but you should always have a bug option within the game. It's just the easiest way to get bug reports. Not everybody's going to want to go mess with Discord or creating an account on the forums or anything like that. So I would say, as critique, add a bug report here, because I've already found a couple of bugs in trying to set up my settings, and that is very annoying, and it doesn't look like I can remap any of these. These are hard locked. So why is there a drop down option? If it's something that's locked, just show me a picture of the keyboard and tell me what it does. There's no need to give me a drop down option if it's hard locked like that. So I don't know. Anyway, maybe it's not a bug, but still. And sound, I can't test speech recognition, and I don't know why. So not really a big deal. That's kind of the way it goes. I'm very excited to play the game. I wish it had come with more airports, but it's nice that it came with what it did. It gives us some new airports. I'm going to start off at TIST, of course, but this first video is just a quick login. Take a look at the options, the settings, the game itself. I'm going to jump in the next video and just play a couple minutes to show you the in-game interface. Not really actually playing, but looking at what I know and trying to figure out, because I've never actually seen it yet. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.